What's up, guys? I'm Mr. Second Passport. Today I'm going to give my own personal take on this video that I saw recently from a channel I do occasionally follow, the Nomad Capitalist by Andrew Henderson, a fellow Clevelander. I heard him mention that once on a video. I hope that's correct. With the last name Henderson, I'm not surprised. There's a lot of Hendersons in Cleveland. I'm friends with a few, but anyway. Let's see what he has to say here about why he was happy to leave Latin America.
I spent 5 months in Latin America this year, and by the end of it, I have to say, I was pretty happy to leave. Today, I'm going to tell you why. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, the author of this book, available on Amazon, and the founder of Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs legally go where you are treated best, and share with you my recent experience of spending about 5 months in Latin America from the beginning of this year until the end of May. By the time it was over, I came back to Mexico City, one of my favorite cities in the world. And by the time the flight came, felt, I've really had enough. As someone who is nomadic, it's hard for me to keep any language, super fluent. So, I speak some Spanish. It ebbs and flows. And when I hadn't spent that much time previous to this trip in Latin America for a little bit over a year. And so, not only does my accent and some of my pronunciations, depending on the country, are they less understood? I mean, in Colombia in particular, they understand some of my pronunciations a little bit less. It was, a little bit tough. And so you're constantly speaking in Spanish, which helps you build the language back up, and that's great. Eventually, if it's not a totally native or bilingual language situation, it can get a little bit frustrating. And so Mexico is...
Bingo. He said it. It's true that when you travel the world a bit, you can find English pretty much anywhere except for a lot of places in Latin America. So you're kind of forced to speak Spanish. Yet, on the positive side, Spanish is by far the most learnable foreign language there is, and most of us can learn a few words and maybe get kind of conversational if we apply ourselves after just a few weeks, right? There's not many other foreign languages that you can say that for. So again, yeah, that's kind of a knock on Latin America, the English level, but then again, if you move abroad, at least I think it's kind of part of the fun to be speaking another language, right? It's kind of like putting a puzzle together every single day.
Not a frustration even, but just, all right, it's time to move on. Part of that for me is I think that for many years at the beginning of my nomad journey, I spent time in Europe and Asia. I was fascinated by Asia. I see a lot of opportunities in Asia. Asia has things where you do have a lot more opportunity. Things are in many cases more fast-paced. People are more go, go, go. Not all of them. But a lot of the Asian societies are run by people who are go, go, go. Things get done.
I mean, that's true, right? Latin America does have that mañana, mañana, tomorrow, tomorrow mentality. But I lived in China and worked over there in a company, right, before moving to Ecuador and also in India. And I can tell you that it's way different over. It is different over there. The mentality. It's like in the U.S., a lot of people move out of the U.S. to get away from the hamster wheel, to get away from the live to work mentality, and instead of move to a place like Latin America where it's work just enough to live, right, to enjoy your life. But why would you move from, say, North America to an even more extreme work, 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 work mentality of a place like a lot of places in Asia? For instance, where I lived in China and the company I worked for, if we had a holiday, we had to work that coming Sunday, right, to recoup the holiday that we had during the week. Does that make any sense? Maybe not to most of us, but that's what we did when I worked over there in a company that manufactured farm equipment and exported to the Americas. So again, it's kind of to each his own. But me personally, I would much rather prefer the Latin American mentality of work just enough to live, not the other way, not live to work.
Make money law. the phrase in some countries. And what Asia also has is it has a great luxury culture, and it very much caters to people who are successful.
That's true in places like Dubai and Hong Kong and a lot of these bigger Asian metropolises, Seoul. Um, if you're a high roller, yeah, you could have other levels of luxury that maybe are you're not privy to here in Latin America. But for the rest of us, uh, eh, on the other hand, the costs of living over in those places I just mentioned are much higher as well. And I think often Latin America has much better deals in general of just living than you can get in a lot of those Asian metropolises.
Word. I mean, if even some of the nicest hotels, it's more simple, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at a certain point, to me, it's like I want to go back to. Uh,
He's really trying hard not to sound stuck up right now, but it's not working.
hey, our family's thinking of moving beyond Latin America because at a certain point, it's very enjoyable, but it's not as much. It's not pushing you forward. And
Um, some might look at it like that, but I think we all have internal engines. Some of us are motivated and some of us just aren't, right? Some of us are type A personalities, some of us just aren't. So it's like, I don't really think that has a lot to do with the country where you're at.
think that even though Mexico is one of the closest places, in my opinion, to American culture, they have many of the American brands, the American restaurants, the American vibe, the American service aspect. I mean, tipping culture, all those things are very similar. American and Mexican culture in particular, very similar. And so as someone who comes from the U.S., it's nice to go and get that taste of home and eat some of the foods that I like. And, I mean, literally, even going into a 7-Eleven and getting certain things that you might have remembered.
For me, that's a negative on Mexico, right? It's all kind of perception, how you look at it, but like, do you really want to move abroad and have the same thing you just left, right? And go to a Walmart again? So, I mean, it's kind of like, the Walmart culture doesn't really interest me that much. And that would actually be a big negative for me ever possibly moving to Mexico compared to pretty much any other country in Latin America or the world.
But okay, what am I trying to get from each place? What is each place good at? What is each place bad at? Mexico City, for example, dreadful airport, not difficult to get to, but just a pain to.
And that's a good point, but people have been doing this even within the U.S. for years and years now, snowbirding, right? So you can kind of plan the different seasons and time of years you like in different places and kind of enjoy that. If you want to keep moving around.
Flying in and out of. So dealing with bureaucracy, dealing with things like the airport in Mexico.
The nomadic lifestyle sounds cool and sexy and romantic, but it can be tiring for a lot of us, right? And for a lot more of us who aren't super extroverted and can just make friends instantly wherever we go, like some people can, but most of us aren't like that. Floating around is fun for a time, but can also become also feeling very lonely too, right? After a while, take it from those of us who've done it as well. So again, something to keep in mind. And bureaucracy? Are you kidding me? Having moved and immigrated to China to kind of give it a go, I can tell you I wouldn't be able to do anything in China if I didn't have local helpers, right? Get a visa, right? Even get an apartment is difficult in China. It's all agencies for the most part. It's just super, super complicated compared to, say, in Latin America. If you speak Spanish, you can pretty much do everything you need to do on your own. Like I got my second passport all on my own, no help from lawyers. I got my visa initially all on my own, no help from lawyers, just because I spoke a little Spanish. So I don't think that's too fair to say the bureaucracy is worse in Latin America. Actually, I think it's more easily navigated than, say, in Asia, where there's so many things that we wouldn't be able to do if we didn't have paid local help.
not enjoyable whatsoever. In fact, whenever I go to the airport and everyone's nice and everything works, I'm pleasantly surprised. Which everyone in Mexico is generally always nice, and so that airport or again bureaucracy or those kind of things, those stick out. Um,
I don't think that's too fair to target Latin America. I think it's developed and undeveloped countries is where you want to make the distinction as far as just everything working, right? And yeah, it's nice to be a place where everything works when you've been in a place where everything doesn't kind of work for a long time. But again, to each his own, right? You're not going to go shopping for a Gucci bag at a Walmart, someone told me once, and it's true. So, I mean, if you want to lower your cost of living significantly, um, there's going to be certain things you got to give up. And I've told people, like, living in a place like Ecuador, it really makes you more flexible than before. Way more flexible, way more laid back. Because if you're not, it'll beat it into you, right? So, again, I'm Mr. Second Passport. This was Andrew Henderson we reviewed today from Nomad Capitalist. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below this video. Great channel to follow. Highly recommend it. And I definitely agreed with him on some points in this video and disagreed in others. But again, really like his channel. I'm Mr. Second Passport. If you like this, don't subscribe to the like button below. Take care.